Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I declared I'm a regular user of the PCN, but my PQs 4 and 5 actually arose from a recent feedback from a Hougang resident, quite consistent with what I have raised. And just a bit of background before for me asking this question, because I've spoken on this since 2018, and I have raised specifically in 2019, 2021 regarding the new typology, where for the benefit of people listening to this, the new red lane marking where 1/3 is exclusively for people on foot and about 2/3 for all users, including pedestrians, cyclists, mobility scooters, strollers, e-scooters, and pets on leash. I have previously said that there are people walking on both lanes and not keeping left, and cyclists have to wade through the traffic, even going onto the exclusive walking lane, so to speak, because of congestion. So there are and I've previously asked for an increase in public education and enforcement efforts for safe and considerate use of the PCN. And almost 4 years on, with actually some of the red lanes have faded and turned to yellow again, awaiting a new coat of paint, the situation has in my view and my residents' view, remain the same, especially during the peak hours of usage. So in the interest of safety and greater amenity of all PCN users, and I'm grateful for MOS for telling us about an update that you are reviewing this, may I actually appeal to NParks or MND to really review how we can improve on the use of the division of the lane so that there is greater safety and greater amenity of all users. And moving forward, may I also ask the NParks to increase its public education efforts on the use of these PCN for all users. And on PQ5, right, currently some parts of the PCN have no red lane markings, while others have such red lane markings. And often it's all within a few hundred meters along same stretches. And personally, I have observed that in some of these stretches, the width may not have varied. So I would like to appeal to NParks to consider minimizing different lane markings, different segregation of paths along similar stretches of PCN to avoid confusion, perhaps adopting what LTA is doing with path segregation along its cycling network. And may I ask, where does NParks or MND provide advisory to PCN users on the revised typology and their intended users? And can this be made more prominent on the ground? Because on the ground, I sense that people don't really understand how the division is meant to be used, even after all these years. Thank you.
I can understand the issues raised by the member, and I've been very fortunate to be involved in this area of work since I was in MOT, and I can see how things have improved significantly over the years. And you realize that for behavior to change, while we provide the infrastructure, we improve the markings, I think as humans, we also will navigate this over time. And I can see that the behavior has changed over time significantly. Because we started, Sir, you and I, we were in Parliament, we started together, and then we could see how the incidents, the behavior of the people with regards to how they use the PCN, even cycling path, have significantly changed. And that, to me, is a positive move. And NParks continues to make improvements. If you realize we have this pilot, we do it in 2 phases. We just completed phase 1, and when we completed phase 1 in 3rd quarter of 2023, we did surveys with the friends of the PCN and then the different stakeholders in the spirit of understanding that it takes time to improve human behavior, but also to see how our infrastructure meet the needs of the people. So I assure the member that we will continue to do this, and I'm not sure whether I heard the member correctly. He shared about the pedestrian path being used by personal mobility device. and cyclists. Yeah. So essentially, we have doing our pilot phase 1. We have segregated them, and what we have seen, people are adjusting to this whole process. Right? When we embark on the phase 2, we'll take the feedback, right, from the feedback or comments we have heard from phase 1, and then we will see how we can navigate this further. We will introduce more markings, especially at the start of the PCN and at the end, and we will make into smaller intervals. And for some, you may seem that the width may be the same, but there are intersections where you would require or to understand the behavior of people when they come together. So it may not be as straightforward as the width. We look at various factors when we design it. Right? So I hope that the member will join us in this journey to make sure that while we are small, we maximize our land use. And what is key is that a feedback I heard from one of my counterparts recently is that you are small, but you are able to use your land efficiently, and the people are able to enjoy it, even though they are all different types of users. So we'll continue to do this to make sure it brings goodness to Singaporeans.
Thank you, Speaker. If I may just quickly build on the PQ by my honourable friend Dennis Tan, where he expressed some sense in which users are sometimes confused over the demarcations. Like him, I used the Sengkang Riverside Park along the path that follows the Pongo River. And there, the confusion is not so much that users do not keep left, but they do not know whether to keep left on the path for pedestrians or to keep left in general along the broad path. So along those lines, I'm wondering if NParks will commit for the PCN to have markings with color demarcations for both pedestrians versus non-pedestrians, in that way that they will know for sure that they should be keeping left along the designated path for their use.
So I use the same PCN as what shared by the member, and I use it regularly. And I find that even over time, I've seen people getting used to the markings. So like what I shared with the member earlier, it takes time for people to look at the changes and then adjust their behavior. And in the past, I remember when NParks first built it and started it, you realize there were lots of, people did not know how to use it. But today, I walk there at least, or even cycle there at least 3 times a week. And I realize that people are able to navigate better. There's less conflicts along the path. And at the same time, when it comes to where users come in via the different paths into the PCN, you realize that they are able to look out for one another. So we will take the feedback raised by members, but I want to urge members to join us in this journey to make sure that we really, really develop something good for people so that wherever they live, they are able to enjoy the PCNs and even the shared and cycling paths that we have.